This video is mainly for my friend Joe in Texas, and I'll put a link to his channel. He is a great artist, and he's a painter and a leather worker and just an all-around good guy. Just to give you an idea of his abilities as an artist, these are two of his paintings that I bartered with him for. And I really love these paintings, and I hope that sometime when I get a little extra money, I'm going to go ahead and get some, purchase some more paintings from him. But for now, what I'd like to have is a new sheath for my knife, my new custom knife that Artist Blade made for me. I was actually going to make the sheath myself, but I brought out a couple of sheaths and knives that I've made myself, and you can see I'm kind of a basic sheath maker. You know, I think this was the first one I ever made, and I used the rivets just because it was quicker. And let's see if I can get this. This was a knife I made out of a piece of, I had modified a machete, and I took the piece left over from the machete and made a knife out of it. And this is just really simple construction. This is Siberian larch for the handles, and those are just some those male-female screws. Just real simple. Like I say, I'm a minimalist when it comes to just about anything, so I don't require a lot of fancy stuff. This is a larger, this is a crazy knife. I wanted a knife that I could do some, look at that, good Lord, this has been out in the shop. That's crazy, isn't it? That's what happens when you leave a knife unattended out in your shop for a long period of time. I'll fix that later. But again, Siberian larch handles, same screws to fasten them on. And this was a piece of this carbon steel I took out of an old, and you can tell, old piece of structural steel and made that. But again, I wanted a nice knife, so I had this one made for me. You can tell the difference in quality, obviously. Joe is going to make a sheath for me for this knife, and this video is to show him some of the features I want so he can price the sheath. And so usually what Joe and I do is I'll ask him for something and we'll come up with a value for it, and then I'll either pay or buy him something or whatever he wants, you know. And he's always reasonable. And that's why I like working with Joe, because he's always fair. Now this is another sheath that I made for my BK2, and I called it I have a video series. Well, I have videos on all these sheaths. You just have to look at, you know, do a search on them. But I call this one the BK2 sheath from hell, because it took me a long time to make this sheath. And there's my BK2. And I like this. I really like this sheath, but it took me a lot of hours to make it. And I'm still not happy with the quality. But what I was going to show Joe was I want a combination of, you know, a belt loop with a retainer strap, you know, so that I can wear it on my belt. But also, if you can see here, I don't know if I can show this, I've got the two loops on the back of the sheath that allow me, I've loosened it up, so I haven't loosened it up enough, but this Molly system really works good. See if I can get a good, you can see there's two loops built into the back of the sheath, and that allows me to strap that big heavy knife onto my Maxpedition pack. Alex actually uses this pack more than I do because it's smaller, and it almost won't go over my broad shoulders. Those are the two main features. Oh, I'd like to have the pouch, Joe. It doesn't have to be this big, but I love being able to have my ferro rod and my striker in there. I use a piece of hacksaw blade. I don't want to use my knife to strike a ferro rod when I don't have to. So I just keep that in there on a little lanyard, and I'll just snap that down like that. So if I had a little pouch and those two little loops on the back and a belt loop, that would upgrade it from, you know, something like this where I didn't put any way to strap it on a pack or a molly system, and I didn't put the pouch. Of course, this one, it's very basic. But this was the first time I did stitching, and I think I did a pretty good job on that. But I do like the way Joe stitches his. And you know, Joe, you don't have to spend a lot of time on the, I mean, I know you will anyway, but it doesn't have to have a lot of artwork on it. If you just want to make it something very basic, that's fine. I think I've got a lot of features on there, so I wouldn't want you to spend a lot of time on the features, you know, the belt loop, the pouch, and the molly system, and then have to go through all the artwork. Just do what you think is, you know, represents, you know, your work. Also, I'm going to send you this big roll of leather, and it's going to be more than enough, obviously, to do the sheath. But that'll be just kind of a bonus for you. You can use it for, you ought to be able to make 3 or 4 sheaths out of that, but probably more. You have a pretty good, pretty efficient leather use. But anyway, I'll send that big roll of leather and the knife. You'll probably get it in the middle of the next week. Probably take a couple of days to get it shipped down there. And then you can think about what you want for all that work. And I really appreciate it, Joe. Like I said, I was going to make a sheath for it, but I think this knife deserves a Joe sheath instead of a Tony sheath. Thanks, guys.